So you guys know that I said this week I'm going to be telling a bunch of stories just locally around town. Wow, it just all of a sudden started raining on me. I don't know if you can see it, probably not. Well, yesterday we went a little bit down south, across the line into Florida. Today we went a little bit more north from where we were to a very small town in Alabama named Newton. There's a really cool story from here, and I mean, all right, if you look behind me, this is the entire town. So yesterday, you know, I showed the town, and then I told the story. Well, this is all the town is here. There's not much to it. So pretty much we're gonna jump right into the story today. I think you'll all find it just as intriguing as I do. So you'll see here, as I was talking about, this is all there is to pretty much the town of Newton. This is an old Civil War town. Now I said that about Chipley yesterday too, and somebody in the comments said it wasn't a Civil War town, it was just a rail town. But this town, and I know for a fact it was a Civil War town because it's kind of part of the story we're going to tell from here today. Right next to the town here, they have this rock, this plaque in it, in memory of the Confederate veterans and home guards in the defense of the town of Newton, Alabama, near the close of the war between the states. And if you've not heard of the home guards, that's part of today's story, I'm gonna tell you. During the Civil War, there was a man, he was a Methodist minister here in the town of Newton. His name was Bill Sketoe. And it's spelled kind of funny, so I'll put it right here for you. During the Civil War, this area where we are, Newton, which is part of Dale County, it was lawless. It had become a lawless place. In fact, in the last few years of the war, the courts from this area did not hold not even one session. All of the pine forest that surround this downtown area became home to deserters from the Confederate Army and Unionists, who they would set up camps out in the pine forest there. They would, however, come into the town here only to terrorize the locals. That's it. They continued doing so until the enraged citizens of here in Newton, Alabama, formed what they called the Home Guard. That's what we just saw on that plaque. Basically, it was a defense against people who sought harm against this Confederate town of Newton. It was a defense against them. Basically, you think about the Civil War in this area here, it was a madhouse. It's pretty much how you could describe it. As the story goes, a new captain got put in charge of the Home Guard. His name was Captain Joseph Breer. He was a decorated soldier. He was captured at Gettysburg. He was released during a prisoner exchange, and he was sent here to Newton to run the Home Guard and to run it with an iron fist. Shortly after arriving, he resolved to hunt down and punish all deserters from the Confederate military. At the time, Methodist minister Bill Sceeto was part of the Confederate military. He legally left the Confederacy so that he could tend to his desperately ill wife. One day, old Bill Sceeto, he was confronted by Captain Breer. Captain Breer labeled him as a deserter. Even though Bill Sceeto showed him his papers showing that he had retrieved his leave from the Confederate military, Captain Breer didn't believe him. Captain Breer thought the papers were forged. So one day, as Bill Sceeto was walking across a wooden bridge, which was in place right here where you see this concrete and metal one now. At one point, it was a wooden bridge a long time ago. Old Bill was walking across that bridge when Captain Breer and his home guard attacked Bill Sceeto from behind. They dragged him from the bridge into what was all trees then, dense trees, to right here. They have now marked the site where it happened with this sign. Near the site, on December the 3rd of 1864, Bill Sceeto was hanged by the Newton Home Guards. They thought he was a traitor to the Confederacy. In truth, Mr. Sceeto had served 3 years in the Confederate Army and had come home on leave to see his sick wife. The Home Guard hanged him from an oak tree near the old bridge, which was right over there, to keep his feet from touching the ground. There was a hole dug under them. So they attacked him from behind, dragged him over here into the woods where they beat him some more. They watched and laughed as he crawled through the sand and the mud, all while they prepared to hang him from a tree. While this is going on, a friend of Bill's happened by. He tried to intervene with no success, so he headed off back into town to try to get some help, to try to save Bill's life. While he was headed off going to try to get help, they had pulled Bill Sceeto back over here towards the bridge to a giant oak tree with a limb that was just the right height that they could try to hang him from. Captain Breer asked Bill Sceeto if he had any last words. Bill, at that point, chose to pray for Captain Breer and the Home Guards and not himself. That infuriated Captain Breer, absolutely infuriated him, who then hastily carried out the hanging before any of Bill's friends could come back to help. There's a little hole here for us in the tree line. Somewhere in here was the giant oak tree where Bill Sceeto was hung from. You can see off to this side the river's flowing. Now this is where the story gets interesting. The story of Bill Sceeto here in Newton, Alabama, it has become immortalized in Southern folklore. That day, December the 3rd of 1864, when they hung Bill, because of his large frame and where the branch was they were hanging him from, they actually had to dig a little hole out underneath him. Well, the reason the story became folklore is because after Bill Sceeto was hung, the hole could never be filled up again. And I know what you're thinking, we'll throw some dirt in it. They tried, all right? No matter how many times they filled it, it would never stay filled, okay? They tried filling it with trash, with dirt, with any kind of debris. The hole never ever disappeared. It would always come right back, sometimes very quickly, all right? Even after being filled over and over and over and over and over again, many times within days, they would come right back and find it was sunken right back to its original size. Some say that Bill Sceeto's friends secretly kept it clean. They would come in and dig it out. They adamantly denied it. The strange thing is that hole remained for over 125 years. 125 years. There's documented history of the hole being there. Obviously, all of Sketoe's friends were long gone after 125 years. There are documented cases of campers who have said they would come and camp before this bridge was built in 1979. They would fill it in with dirt, pitch their tent over the top of it, and the next morning when they woke up, they were sleeping in the hole. All of the stories, over 100 years worth of stories combined, turned the story of Bill Sceeto into a legend. Again, this bridge was built in 1979. The hole only recently has disappeared. And I say disappeared, it's underneath all these rocks, all right? So for years and years and years, this story has been told, and People, especially people fond of the paranormal, came from all over the world to see Sketoe's hole. Well, they decided, as a collective effort, they were going to build this bridge. Well, instead of trying to fill it in with dirt, they left the hole like it was, stacked rocks around it, and then above it, on top of it, so the hole was not interfered with. Somewhere, some city engineer knows exactly where that hole is, somewhere here underneath this bridge. They aren't telling anyone. I guess they don't want people coming here for that reason alone. Another piece to the puzzle that added to the Bill Sketoe folklore. All of the members of Bill Sketoe's lynching party, everyone who was responsible for hanging him on that oak tree that day, they all passed away unnaturally, including Captain Breer, who actually died when he was struck over the head with a giant limb from an oak tree, exactly like the one he used to hang Bill Sketoe on. All the rest of them passed away in mysterious ways, none of them natural deaths. It's definitely something paranormal happening underneath this bridge right here at Bill Sketoe's hole. The river here that's running next to the bridge is the Choctawhatchee River. Who knows how many people drive over this bridge right here behind me, like this big truck coming. Who knows, this big truck is fixing to drive over this bridge, and there's a good chance that he doesn't even know that right underneath where he's driving is paranormal activity. He probably doesn't even know that at all. It's crazy. Now, even though the hole just refuses to disappear, which is crazy that even happens. I mean, that just is mind-blowing. There's not been any other paranormal activity here. Nobody spotted any like apparitions or strange things going on at night. The only, I mean, it's just that the hole continues to come back. No matter how many times they fill it, it just keeps coming back. Bill Sketoe, his final resting place is about 9 miles up the road. Right here at a place called Mount Caramel. I don't know if they pronounce it caramel or caramel. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can find old Mr. Sketoe in here. This one's got a fence around it. Oh, look, that's it. What do you know? William Sketoe Sr., son of John and Anna Sketoe, born our dear father, gone but not forgotten. That's it. Mr. Bill Sketoe. Who knows if Bill Sketoe here is responsible for the hole not being filled up, or if it was people. I mean, I guess if you think about it, it could have originally been his friends or family who kept moving the dirt out of the hole. But what about the documented reports of campers who would, you know, because there's no way somebody can dig it out underneath them. So it's really, really strange. Either way it goes, it's a very interesting story from Newton. Now, how he ended up being buried here in Mount Caramel, I don't know. I don't know if he had family here or what, but it's only about 10 miles away. So it's not too far. But if you think about it, back in those times, it would have taken them a long time to get over here. That is going to do it for this, our second episode of this week long, where I'm gonna be just going around the local area telling some stories and stuff. I hope you enjoyed this episode on Bill Sketoe and the paranormal activity surrounding Sketoe's hole here in Newton, Alabama. I would like to thank you all so much for watching. It means a ton and I really appreciate it. If you want to help support the channel and our travels and our endeavors, we have a big trip coming up in just a couple of weeks now that I'm hoping everybody finds it adventurous and entertaining. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. It'll be our biggest trip of the year so far. So if you want to help support the channel and our travels, just check out the links down in the description box below. That's all you got to do. Thank you all. I will see you again tomorrow. I hope you all have a great day. I really do.